some people, I suppose, refer to me as a geopolitical analyst with a love of history. I've written some books on the untold history of Canada and the clash of the two Americas, oligarchical systems and where they fail, where human beings have organized in opposition to feudal agencies wishing to keep us blind, ignorant, depopulated, underdeveloped, warring with our neighbors. I'm also the senior fellow of a think tank that promotes Russia-US cooperation and friendship to avoid war called the American University in Moscow. My wife and I run an organization to promote education, classical humanist teaching techniques, so that we could sort of help a lot of homeschoolers, a lot of people trying to do reforms in education today to get a better sense of, well, what's a healthier approach, and that's the risingtidefoundation.net. Really just pigeonholing myself, but I did find that there was a bit of a void on my logical side, sort of an imbalance I could feel, um, a mushiness on my my logic side. So
Hmm.
I would go for electives in law or in something a little bit more scientific whenever the opportunity arose, and I did find that that was useful, but it was still, I mean, I'm operating in an oligarchical academic environment with certain thought constructs that are kept in place in order to ensure that people, students who are going to become workers and taxpayers and operators within the machinery don't disturb the machinery. That's part of the way the whole education system has been formatted under the Rockefeller Foundation reforms back a century ago, and it didn't get better, right? It got worse.
Hmm.
So, I did get a sense that there was something wrong because in the arts world, there was this disdain for using reason. Like I would get professors in fine arts failing me because at different times I was trying to communicate a thought, a moral value that I had in my head through my
Hmm.
art. They didn't
Hmm.
like that. They were like, no, the purpose of art, which was very clear and it was repeated to me many times, the purpose of art is to make your audience squirm uncomfortably, to be a reflection of the hypocrisy and ugliness of the world, because the world is a hypocritical, ugly place. So you want to reflect that to help. I guess you could think of it as a maybe justified as a form of activism, that you're going to help the world see why they're hypocritical. And so there's a cult of ugliness built up. But in my mind, it didn't feel right because I'm like, am I not part of the problem if I'm just making art that's disturbing? Am I not, how am I helping to make the world more just? If so that was a problem, but I didn't know
Just
how to
and
resolve it.
beautiful, no? This
And
the good
beautiful,
and the
ideally.
beautiful classic kind of, I think, is where your morals are also are. And you I think you also
Yeah.
posted at X the CIA psyop of the
Uh,
action painting, no, and the modern art and
yeah.
all this. You could
Yeah.
say there is even some conspiracy theories that it was influenced by the communists, maybe communist infiltration, or the socialists, wherever you want to see them. The CIA, they want to degenerate and kind of make art ugly, and it's kind of like a joke to make to destroy the sense of beauty, no?
Yeah, good. Well said. But I would say it wouldn't it's not exactly a communist thing as it's often treated. It's
Hmm.
more subtle than that because there's a specific breed of feudalists who emerged onto the scene in the late 19th century, who created a specific strain of feudal socialism. So not all socialism is feudalism, but this particular grouping in here, of course, I'm referring to the Fabian Society, the British imperial mystics who often colluded with various theosophists as well in secret societies back in the 1870s, 1880s, who reorganized their systems and gave rise to the Fabian Society. They nominally called themselves socialists, but they all hated humanity. They all wanted less humans. They thought that we would be easier to control if you distorted our natural maturation as a sovereign species. And one of the techniques that were hit upon in the during World War One, it was already building before that, but it really came out in the wake of World War One, was to promote a um, a severing of the mind from the heart.